story time about the boy across the street who used to stalk me. So a little background information. My parents and I moved into a new house that was literally 5 minutes from where I used to live. But I went to private school, and almost all the other kids in my town went to the public school. So I didn't really know a lot of the kids in my town. Well, a week after we moved in, our neighbors across the street invited us to a barbecue. While we were there, I started talking to our neighbor's older son, and him and I started to get along really well. Like, in a flirty way. Their older son was a senior, I was a sophomore, and their younger son was a freshman. Well, I kind of talked to the younger son, but he was just like giving me really weird vibes. So for the next few weeks, I started hanging out with their older son a lot, and we would talk all the time. Well, the one day whenever I went over their house, it was super weird. His younger brother kept saying, "Oh, I think I know you from somewhere. Like, I swear I know you." And I'm just like, okay. Well, the one morning I was waiting outside for my mom to pick me up because she worked night shifts and she would just grab me and then take me to my school. And I saw him in his window watching me like for part 2. Part 2 about the boy across the street who used to stalk me. So like I said, I saw him watching me outside his window, but I didn't want to overthink it, so I was just like, no, maybe he's looking at something else. Well, this all started a month after I moved in. Well, it started happening more frequently, so then I told his older brother. We're just gonna call the younger brother Mac. So he talked to Mac, and then everything was fine for a week. Just a little information real quick. For the public school, the bus would arrive at 7:40. My private school started at 7 o'clock. So my mom would come and get me at 6:15 because my school was kind of far away. So like I said, it was a week later. Every morning that I would go outside to wait for my mom, Mac would be standing on his porch watching me. Oh, but it gets worse. So one night I was in my bedroom, right? And this is like some scary movie shit. I kept seeing something run past my window. My bedroom was on the first floor. So I told my dad about it, and he put cameras outside. Well, Mac's older brother told me that Mac was always interested in my life. So me being a smart-ass bitch, I told his older brother that our cameras didn't work, like for part 3. Part 3 about the boy that lived across the street who used to stalk me. So like I said, I told his older brother that our cameras didn't work anymore, knowing that he would tell Mac. Because he had it in his head for some reason that Mac wasn't obsessed with me. And the reason why I told him our cameras didn't work was because Mac was watching while the cameras were being set up outside. And after that, everything stopped. Except he would still be outside every single morning on his fucking porch watching me. So the one night while I'm sleeping, I wake up to some noise right outside my window. And my bed was on the same wall as the window, so I could see who was right outside my window, but they couldn't see me. Well, I look, and guess who the fuck it is? It's Mac trying to get inside of my fucking window. So I quietly call my dad, and it's like 3 in the morning. So I tell my dad what's going on. So he goes outside and nobody's there. Well, the next day we check the cameras. There's footage of him jerking off outside my window, trying to break into my room with a fucking crowbar. Luckily, I was staying at a friend's that night. Taking pictures of me outside my window. So we showed his parents. Then we moved and they sent him to a mental hospital.
I'm a senior in high school and I have a stepsister who is the same age as me. My mom and her dad have been married since we were 10. We both started school again yesterday. A couple of hours into my online class, my mom comes to my room to talk to me. She said that since I have more than enough money to put myself through college, how would I feel about sharing some of that money with my stepsister who does not have enough money? I lost my paternal grandparents 3 years after I lost my dad, so I inherited a lump sum of money. My mom and stepdad had saved some money, but a few crappy things happened to our house, so now apparently there's not enough for my stepsister to go to college. But I don't feel responsible to put her through college. I also don't feel like my paternal relative's money that's now mine should be used for her. She was nothing to them, and if we're being real, we have no relationship beyond living in the same house either. I told my mom no. She said she was disappointed in me. Later on that night, my mom and her husband pulled me into the kitchen to discuss some things. They told me I'm being selfish and that she's my sister. I said even if she is my sister, it's not my job to help her through college, and that's my money, and it will not be used for something I do not approve of. Apparently, I'm the asshole for refusing, according to them. So it got me thinking, should I help my stepsister out?
Part 2 about how my boyfriend's best friend tried to ruin our relationship. So like I said, I started to connect the dots after that. And then I realized that she was talking about my boyfriend. We're just gonna call him Josh. So as he's telling me this, I immediately get a FaceTime call from her. So I answer the phone, and she says, well, I think I should just confront the situation now. So the first thing that she says is, you knew I liked Josh. Like, how could you do this to me? I had a poster board and everything. So I'm just like, well, why didn't you tell me that you liked him? And she goes, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you knew. But I was sitting there thinking about the fact that they were best friends for 5 years and nothing ever happened, so it's really not my fault. And then this girl has the nerve to say, I'm pretty sure if you just break up with him now, me and you can get past this and still be friends. So I said no. So then I called my boyfriend, told him that we talked it out, and I didn't even tell him about what she said or anything like that, because I just wanted the situation to be over and done with. So a few weeks after that, she decided to get her brother involved. Her brother and Josh were best friends, by the way. Well, then her brother told Josh that him and I had been hooking up like for part 3. Too about my boyfriend's best friend trying to ruin our relationship. So like I said, then she got her brother involved. And her brother and Josh were best friends. A little background information here. Josh had stopped talking to Jamie for those few weeks after she called me that night because she was making things really awkward in our relationship and just giving us a lot of problems. So the one night, Jamie's brother texts Josh and he's like, bro, I think it's mad sus how you cut her off when your girlfriend's the problem. So obviously Josh texted him and said, what do you mean? And her brother was like, she hits me up all the time to hang out. We've been hooking up. I can even send you the nudes that she sent me. And before I started dating Josh, there was this boy that I was talking to for like 6 months and I ended up sending him nudes. And yes, they got around the school. But surprisingly, Josh had no idea about them. So her brother sent Josh the nudes and said, bro, here, like, see her face is in it and everything. Lesson learned, don't put your face in nudes. So then me and 3 other people explained to my boyfriend that those were from a while ago. And after that, he just blocked both of them and we're still together.
Story time about the craziest thing I saw while working at a mental health facility. I work in a mental health facility as a psychiatric technician. My job is to help people with mental health distress by providing emotional support, helping develop positive coping skills, and provide medical attention. Some of the individuals that I treat have severe mental illness, which can lead to violence. One day I was assigned to a patient that I'll never forget. He was on a 24-hour observation because he was self-harming and deemed high risk. He had tried to harm others earlier in the day, so he was locked into a padded room with only a bed, a bathroom, and a tear-proof blanket. I was assigned to watch him for the day from outside of the room to ensure that he wouldn't harm himself until he could be seen by a doctor. He was talking about things that made absolutely no sense, running around in circles inside of the room and asking me if I was Jesus. He would start screaming at the top of his lungs about random things, curse at me 1 minute then apologize the next, and kept spinning on the window just to wipe it off a few seconds later. I attempted to calm him down, but he was on a rampage. At one point, he turned his back to me and appeared to be rubbing his eye for some time. However, when he turned around, I almost passed out. He had ripped his eyeball completely out of the socket and began tossing it up and down in the air while calmly singing to himself. The situation only got worse from here. Part 2 of the craziest thing I saw while working at a mental health facility. The man continued throwing his eyeball in the air and catching it while calmly singing slow jams. In disbelief, I immediately called for the guards to come and help me. As they came running, I told the man to stop playing with the eyeball and put it down. He then flashed me a smile and put his eyeball close to his mouth. I knew where this was going, so I begged him not to do it. He proceeded to put his eyeball in his mouth and began intensely chewing it. The guards unlocked his door and rushed in. He was jumping and running around trying to avoid them. When they finally got him restrained and under control, they told him to open his mouth and spit out the eyeball. Sure enough, he quickly swallowed it. I asked him why he would do that, and he told me that President Ronald Reagan told him to. He said it's okay because he still has another eye left and he could see just fine, and that he only wanted to have one anyway. That's when the ambulance arrived to come and take him to the hospital. When the paramedics asked him what happened to his eye, he proceeded to throw up on demand in front of everyone. He pointed to his chewed up eyeball and the pile of vomit on the floor and asked them if they could put it back in his eye socket for him. After going to the hospital, he was transferred to a different facility for a higher level of care. To this day, whenever I see someone rubbing their eye, I get squeamish.
What's one really bad thing you did as a child that you kept secret for your entire life and didn't tell nobody? I'll go first. I got a lot of stories like this, but this is just one of them. So my mama used to put me in daycare, and in my daycare we used to do field trips, and we went to the YMCA. So while we were in the pool, this one white kid comes up to me and he asked me, like, why are you black? And I was kind of embarrassed, but I wasn't mad at the kid. I was more embarrassed than I was mad. And I told him that my parents painted me every single day. And I was thinking back at the time when I scraped my knee and the skin came off and there was like no blood. It was just bone. But I didn't know that it was bone. I thought that I was just white underneath. So I was like, it's true, like I can peel my skin off and prove it. When I did that, I peeled skin off my finger and it was a lot of skin and I started bleeding really bad. So the water started getting red and the daycare people tried to get everybody out the water like there was something going on. And then once everybody was out of the water, one of the daycare people go, I'm so...
Let me show you how I easily take off my press-on nails while I tell you a story how my husband got beat up at my cousin's baby shower and I did nothing about it. By the way, I've been wearing these press-on nails for 7 weeks. I know what you're thinking. Why will you not do anything about it? Okay, fast forward back to when I and my husband got married. My husband was a very, very romantic man, very sweet. He was a provider. He was everything a woman needed in a man. But, you know, not be everybody they perfect, right? At least I thought my own husband was perfect until I found out his secret. I have this cousin of mine. She's my favorite cousin. She comes to the house to visit, but for some reason, my husband doesn't like her. he doesn't agree with her. He just doesn't like her. I do ask him why, what's his reason, and he doesn't even have one reason. He just said his spirit doesn't accept her, and same as her, she doesn't like him. Anyways, at some point I even got tired. I know they put mouth for their matter, but until one day I noticed that they were all cool, they were talking, they were playing. I was happy at some point. I was like, thank God, though, finally this beef where they go on between una two, una don't solve them. But once in a while when we are together, we they talk, I go they see him, go they look her, they give her all those glances, they cut eye for him. But I know today think they reason them or they put meaning into them, you understand? Sometimes if I just enter sitting room, say now only two of them they sitting room, the way then go just stop to the talk, or the conversation with them they get before I enter, then go just stop, then go just adjust their body, adjust their self. Yeah, I can't they wonder say wetin they sup. I they pay attention to details. Like when I don't they behave somehow, I go won't know waiting be the issue. Only for me one day, my husband is sleep. I say make I carry him phone, just check, Nas. I see how the way women be. I check him phone. Only for me to see him and my cousin they chat. They talk how she did sweet, how she did good in bed, how she they do this one, they do that, all the styles where they give them. I shock. I almost get heart attack that day. I clean my eyes first. I say maybe now sleep I they do me, I been a dream, I they dream. If you see text message, if you see pictures of how she they send breasts, they send different thing, him they send dick, they show her. I can't they surprised. But after that night, as I cry finish, I not talk anything. I just lock up. I just pretend like say nothing. I just they observe waiting then they do. So one day again, I still carrying phone, check message. It can't be say my cousin get belle. They tell her say he get belle for him. My husband comes, they tell her say, but you get fiancé now. How you take no say now me get the belle? I beg, make you stop to do wetin they do. Face your fiancé, carry the belle go give him, or you better go abort the pikin. My cousin say she know they abort anything, and this my cousin no one live in fiancé, you understand? So she won't kukuma put the belle for in head. But based on say me I don't see the text message, them they don't know say me I don't see the text message. I no talk, I lock up. I just they show and love, oh, still they do like normal wife, oh, until the day of my cousin baby shower. My time is up, guys. Make sure you follow me for part 2 to know how this story ends. Bye. Part 2 of how my husband got beat up and I did nothing about it. If you've not watched part 1, kindly visit my page and watch, then come back to this one. Until the day of my cousin baby shower, I say make I surprise them. Say now that day I go show them, say I know everything wey dey happen since wey dem start to dey do this rubbish wey dem dey do. And so that day I come make polo. The polo where I make for am be like say na LV polo, something like that. But that polo signify father of the baby. But my husband no get clue. You know say men, they know they too know all these things. So as we dress up finish, go the baby shower now, the fiancé of my cousin wear the same polo based on say na him be the baby daddy. Like in belief say na him be the baby daddy, so him wear the same polo. So as my husband, as we enter the event, my husband dey surprised say this man they wear the same polo with me. That my cousin fiancé, he know say na him be the baby daddy, and say that shirt signify papa of the pikin. So as he see my husband, immediately he know say if it be the papa, based on say him they suspect my cousin, you understand? But he never really know who be the person my cousin they mess around with. But that day, as he see that thing, that day in mind tell and say, so now this guy they sleep with him wife to be. You understand? As my husband enter, the way this my cousin fiancé take jump on this guy, see beating. He beat him. My husband still they surprised, say, wetin him do where this guy they jump on now? He come they surprised, say, how come him and this guy they wear the same shirt? You know, even they understand wetin they suppo. After they don't beat and finish, I not talk anything, and so I carry my husband go ask. My husband still they wonder, they ask me wetin they happen, saying they confused, say why that guy go beat am like that. And then me, I can't tell am say I know everything wey they do, how you take sleep with my cousin, how you take give am belle and everything. In shock now, so he start to they beg me. I tell am say him packing things come up from my house because I no go fit dey with man wey don disgrace me for my family. Omo, people things that happen for this world though. You see this men, they no go ever change for this life. May God try give us better men, no, because now every day we just dey see animals in different form. Abeg, if you enjoy this story, make sure say you like this video and follow us, and don't forget to shop our luxury acrylic press-on nails from Clothes by Bets. Bye guys.